Hello, Rob from Fountain Pen Journey with a pen review. Now, this pen is a vintage pen. It's certainly not a new pen, but it is new old stock. I got this pen from a seller on Etsy who's based in India. Now, he's obviously got quite a few of these older Sheaffer pens for sale, and I just really like the look of this because it was a bit different to the Sheaffer no-nonsenses that I tend to favour. This is the Sheaffer School Pen. That's all I've got it listed as. It's very similar to the Sheaffer Viewpoint, which is very similar to the Sheaffer no-nonsense, but it has this sort of viewing window for the ink cartridge in there. But it is a different design. It's rounded ends, doesn't have the ball cap. So let's talk about the pen to begin with. So Sheaffer School Pen, this is the green version. It's a very nice turquoisey green. The top end has got this rather interesting insert, plastic insert in here. So there is a hole in the top, but it's filled in with this plastic insert. Domed cap. We've got on the clip, try and get that right, there we go, Sheaffer's, and it has a pseudo sort of ball at the end. It's not really a raised thing, it is flat on top, and then sort of, it's like a hemisphere I suppose underneath, and the clip is really quite tight. There is a cap band, metal cap band here. The barrel has got an ink window, and this is like the finial, this plastic insert. This is inserted into the barrel of the pen. It's not open. So there is this transparent, clear ink window on either side of the pen, so that you can see the cartridge inside and how much ink is in there. Very sort of, I wouldn't say this is a slim pen, but it is little bit on the narrow side. I'm guessing it's made for children's hands because it's called a school pen, so it's not a huge pen, and it tapers down to the end here, and there is nothing at the bottom of the barrel. So let's compare it to something which you'll try possibly to recognise. TWSBI Eco T in size, and put these. There we go. So it is a shorter pen, and it's a nice looking pen. It's a bit different. It's got a sort of retro look, which is, I think, quite attractive. Uncapped. Let's just compare these side by side. Cap just pops off, so it is a little bit shorter than the TWSBI Eco T. So let's look at the business end of the pen. Steel nib. This is a fine steel nib, and the black plastic section is not triangular, but it does have two facets on the upper side with grips, which are designed to sort of guide your fingers into the right type of tripod grip. I know not everybody holds the pens like this, but obviously it's a school pen, and this is how they want to try to teach children to hold a pen. And as you can see, it's not a bad length. I can write with this pen quite comfortably. It is a little bit on the short side, but at the end of the day, yeah, I don't write with this pen posted, but it does post. It posts deeply and it posts securely, and it becomes a really good length when posted. So up to you, but I think it's perfectly usable without the cap being posted, but you post it and it's a really, really nice, comfortable size. The section is comfortable to hold. It suits me. I find this comfortable. You do feel these ridges on here a little bit, but I suppose they're there to stop your fingers slipping down on those two sides. It's rounded underneath. There's a step up just past this silver end to the section, and this unscrews, the barrel unscrews so you can see the ink cartridge and replace that, and it takes Sheaffer ink cartridges. So that is one thing. It takes proprietary ink cartridges, but even though it's a vintage pen, it'll take the modern cartridges from Sheaffer. So good little pen. Now it's very lightweight. I feel it's pretty good quality plastic. It's not cheap flimsy stuff. These ink windows, yep, they're very secure in there, very well made so that it's flush. You can feel where the ink windows meet the barrel a bit, but really quite good in the fact that it's not that noticeable at all. Eyedroppering, I wouldn't risk it. I don't know how these ink windows are really inserted into there. It's not a pen that I would risk eyedroppering, because this seems to be a sort of inner liner in there, and yeah, I don't have faith that would hold ink. So not one that I would recommend eyedroppering. Writing. Now, before we do the writing sample, I'll show you an example of the writing that I got from this pen. Now, do bear in mind that this writing sample here is as the pen was purchased, new old stock, from the seller, and it was, I mean, I'm not a fan of fine nibs, but this was really extra fine, and it was skippy and dry. The nib, however, was very smooth, so there was no issues with the tine alignment, but it was just not very good. It had very poor ink flow, and there was some skipping. It was just not great. So a bit disappointing really for a school pen. You kind of expect your first pen that you use in school to actually be usable for a writing experience, and yes, you can write with this, but I had to tinker with the nib because it was just not good. I mean, you can barely read some of this writing, so it was a little bit of a disappointment. So I had to tune the nib. I didn't do a great deal to it. I got some brass shim and flossed in between the tines. Then I checked the tine alignment, smoothed the nib a little bit, flossed it a bit more with the brass shim, and eventually it started writing. And it has, well, writing well, and it has turned into quite a nice little writer. It's still a very fine nib. It's not extra fine, but it is fine. And I would say it's a true fine, and it's okay. It's not the writing experience that I would prefer from a pen. So let's get into this and see how it writes. Oh, I'm doing the writing sample. Let's write down the name of the pen first. The fine nib. Now obviously I have tinkered with this, so there is more flow from the nib. So it is wetter than when I first had the pen. All the ink is Sheaffer green, Sheaffer classic green, I think it's called, which always confuses the hell out of me really, because it's more of a blue. It's a strange colour. Anyway, so let's do the writing sample. So yeah, I'm perfectly happy with this nib now. It's smooth, not scratchy at all, and it does quite a good job. There is no line variation with this. It is a stiff steel nib, I mean, you can squeeze a little bit of ink out, which is quite good. No pressure, a bit more pressure. So yeah, you do get some. The ink flow now is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's a gusher, and I wouldn't say that this is particularly keeping up that well. So it's not the best. I have had much better pens, especially the Sheaffer No Nonsense pens. They're really good in my opinion. This is, it's okay, but it's not great. What else can I say about it? Not very much. It's an interesting little addition to my collection of Sheaffer pens. Is it one that I'd recommend? Does it get a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Well, it's kind of in the middle. It's not a terrible pen, but it's certainly not a pen that I'd buy another of. But it's a nice, attractive colour, nice design to add to my collection. So that's this review. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh, before I go reverse writing, let's show you that. Always forget this. I know some people like it. It's very, very dry. It doesn't keep up. It's smooth enough, but not great. But in normal use, very smooth, but just not a great writing experience. A little bit dry. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.